In today's video, I'm going to be rebuilding 3 different famous roller coasters as extreme spinners to find out if it's the best coaster type. So I've done this before when I recreated 3 other roller coasters and I wasn't really convinced, and that's why I'm going to do it again today. And we also have a new special addition to this video, and that is the Is It Better board, where we basically just compare the two and see if it's better than the original. And the first coaster we're going to be recreating today is going to be Voltron at Europa Park as an extreme spinner. So I've just built the first turn out of the station, so I guess without further ado, let's start building the first launch and the first couple of elements, I guess. So I've now built the first big element here. I'll probably change the shaping a couple of elements. I'll probably make this a bit lower and change the shaping a little bit, but as you see here, it's pretty accurate to the original. Obviously these trains are a bit longer, but I don't think it should matter too much. So now I built everything up until the 0G stall here. I'm not really checked speed yet, but it should not really be a problem. I think these first elements flow pretty well. Now I'm going to start working on the next part with all the like... Here we have now my very beautiful turntable, obviously. There aren't any turntables in the game, especially not on this coaster type. But what do you want me to do? Break the game physics? So now I'm basically just going to finish the layout with all the like elements going to the end. So yeah, see you in a bit. So here we now have the final product. I think it's really accurate. I got all the track elements pretty correct with all the angles and stuff, and also kind of how the tracks intervene. But now obviously I have to add some decoration. Perfect, so now let's just ride it. So is it better than the original Voltron? No. It's not better than Voltron. I think some parts definitely did work as an extreme spinner, but I think some of the elements were a bit too snappy. I think this first element worked pretty well, but some of these versions are a bit too crazy. And obviously the ride is a bit too long, so I think it will get pretty dizzy. Now we're gonna head over to the second coaster we're gonna recreate today, which is... Käften. Wildfire at Kolmården. So Wildfire is obviously an RMC. I think we just have to deal with it actually being a still coaster instead of wooden supports and stuff, because I'm not going through the pain of tracing like a wooden track along everything. So without further ado now, let's just start building this roller coaster. And we have to just launch instead of a chain lift because we're stuck with 20 degrees. How far away can you actually get from the actual roller coaster? You remove the actual wooden elements, you remove the chain lift from a launch, and then remove the entire ride and bake a cake instead. So obviously Wildfire starts off with this kind of iconic panoramic view. So yeah, I think this looks about right, so now let's just build the rest of the layout. I built everything up until kind of the beginning here of the actual hang time stall, and then we have the outer bank and everything obviously. So this is actually a pretty tricky roller coaster to actually recreate. It goes like pretty far out, so it's really hard to get everything in the right location, and the brake run may end up being 30 meters away from the station. But who cares? All we care about here is the rotations. So you know when I said that the brake run maybe would be like 30 meters away from the actual station? don't click off the video, guys. We have Falcons Flight coming up next as an extreme spinner. That's where I clicked on the video, right? So don't click off. I'm gonna smooth this now, then we'll do the POV. It probably look pretty similar anyway. Think of it as public transport. You get from one point to the other. So now for the question, is it better than the... So now I'm going to be recreating Falcons Flight as an extreme spinner. So for those of you who are still here in the video after that little wildfire incident, let's just call it that, I'm going to now trace over the old track because I've obviously already done a recreation of Falcons Flight before, and I think it would just be unnecessary to just rebuild it again. So I just kind of traced the actual extreme spinner track kind of over the original, and this took so long. It was like super tedious job to actually do this, but it ended up being pretty good as well. The shaping is obviously a bit odd when you actually try to kind of go over your old track. It always gets a bit weird trying to follow like the guidelines. But other than that, I think this turned out pretty well as well. I keep saying that in my videos. Okay, let's take a deep breath. I'm kind of going crazy doing this video, I don't know why, but more stable content coming out soon, let's just say that. But right here I'm obviously doing the top part, and I didn't really film too much of me doing the kind of bottom part because I don't think it will be too interesting to kind of see that. But anyways, now let's just head over to me talking about how painful this was. I think I did, and then we'll get over to the actual POV. Yay! And now it is finally done. You guys obviously won't see too much of a difference in that cut, but for me this took an hour to finish. Shaping's kinda bad and it isn't really too good smooth, but I don't think you should realize too much of a difference in the actual POV. So yeah, without further ado, let's go! now comes the question, is it better than the original? No, it is not better than the original. I think a ride of this length as an extreme spinner would be pretty dizzying, and in some parts obviously it spun a bit too quickly, I would say. So if it was more of a controlled spin, I would say sure, fine, it could be better, but as it is right now, I think we would throw up. So in conclusion, this idea was kind of stupid from the beginning because yeah, so